TJ got 40,000 people. You got a couple hundred people. He said, dude, my budget just for water and things like this is bigger than your budget for your whole. And he wasn't putting the guy down. He was just explaining. You got to understand how I had to walk to get here. I had to take my time and learn how to handle 200 so I can learn how to handle 400. Then when I got to 500, then I got to 1,000. So everybody understand that your steps, man, are so important. And we're always in a hurry to get there, but trust me, the faster you get there, the faster you're going to come back. You're going to come back with a big lesson. So, taking your time and just being consistent, as Les was saying.
Welcome to the Greatness Ignited podcast, where we have conversations about the greatness of others so that you can recognize the greatness in you. My name is Barry Overton, and I have been studying greatness for the last 7 years, and it is taking my career to new heights. And now me and a few of the successful people that I have had the honor of interviewing are coming together to ignite your greatness and light the fire within. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Greatness Ignited, where we're having conversations to discuss the greatness in others so that you can realize the greatness in you. I got to tell you, today's conversation, this is a special one, man, because this one is the one that really ignited my greatness. It got me off the launching pad and into the stratosphere, just in regards to business and all the things that I've been able to do to create success by what this gentleman taught me and has taught countless number of others. But let me just give you a little bit of background on him. So he's a 14-year veteran with the Denver Broncos, two-time Super Bowl champion. And the funny thing about it, he was an undrafted free agent through that process. And we're going to talk about the mindset of what it takes to be able to be undrafted and then spend 14 years with the same team and win 2 Super Bowls with them. On top of that sports career that he had, he also has 3 business degrees. And he has put those degrees to use over the last 10 years or so to be able to help others find those talents and create success in themselves. And he has created millionaires all around the world and is continuing to do that. Someone, again, with 3 business degrees, you may think he knows it all. I can tell you, he's a student. He's a student of the industry, constantly learning, constantly getting better, because that's something he took away from football, that you always have to get better. And that's what he's been able to do in his previous career and now his current career. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rod Smith, thank you for joining us, sir.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words. While you was over there talking, I was grabbing me a notepad. I said, he going to say something that's going to make me some money. So, no, I know, I definitely appreciate you, man. Like I said, it's been over 10 years now, since I used to see you at the airport working.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that now I get to watch you, step into your greatness and doing some of the things you're doing right now, because it's like you said, man, all of us have it. Sometimes we have that doubt, and that doubt can overshadow what's really on the inside of. Sometimes you got to have somebody, a person, remind you how good you can be, and then actually walk you through it. Somebody did it for me. With you, I said, man, this dude is extremely disciplined. Maybe it's the military background. I said, that's a person I would like to work with. You know what I'm saying? Even if it was like we didn't have to make money together, it was just like, you want to be around good people. And that's what I saw in you. I was like, man, I got to get around this guy. And I kept running into you. And we'll probably talk about that through this episode. But I definitely appreciate the chance to get to not only come on here and learn, but also to get to share a few things that I've learned over the years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. And I think people use this term lightly when they say, I wouldn't be here without you. I wouldn't have been able to achieve the things that I have without you. But man, I got to tell you that the lessons that I took notes on, and man, there's some things I'm going to share with you that we have never talked about, that I took lessons from, that we did it in a different industry, but I've used it in real estate. And, and when you understand just the principles of business and the principles of marketing, it all comes together no matter what it is that you're doing. But, like I said, that's for me, the biggest gratitude. And I've told you time and time again how much I appreciate all the information that you've been just open to giving. And it's like you said, man, we take notes.
Yeah.
Shoot, we can get on a regular phone call just to say what's up, and there's gonna be notes.
It's gonna be some bombs dropped. I can promise you. But that's it. You know what though? When you're comfortable with people and you you want something for them instead of something from them, it's easy to give when you want something for people, and then you get to watch them go off and literally you want to see them teaching something that you taught them because somebody taught you. And I always believe in passing that stuff down. And I've had, not only from, of course, Hall of Fame type coaches and stuff in my life, but I had Hall of Fame people in my life who were probably a bigger impact than some of the coaches I had. Football is just kind of how I get described a lot, but it's really about people. If you listen, you said real estate, the other industry we're in, we were doing some network marketing stuff. Any business, you deal with people. And if you don't know how to deal with people, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you're right. Now we're going to jump right into it, man, because, again, the podcast is Greatness Ignited. And one of the things that I like to really dive into is, number one, just going back to a lot of times to childhood, because funny thing I've learned when I started just getting quiet and thinking about my own childhood, I realized that there were dreams that I had then, some that I gave up on, but some that came to fruition over time, and I didn't even realize it. And I know you shared a story that, again, this fire that was ignited in you in regards to just really, it wasn't about necessarily playing football. It was just getting out of the environment that you were in.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I wrote a book about it. So, my book, the Raw to Fat, I'm not publishing. I don't need to sell it. You can download it for free. That's not my thing. But when you grow up in the projects and you grow up in single family home, welfare and food stamps, man, there's a lot of lessons, and I tell people all the time, I wouldn't trade my upbringing for nothing. Because one thing, we didn't have a lot of money, and you didn't realize you was broke because everybody around you was broke. So, but we did have that togetherness, and I could argue with somebody in my neighborhood, but you couldn't argue with them because they was in my neighborhood. It was my boys or whatever. So, but it's just the way it was, man. I remember the school, the elementary school I went to, 12 years old. 12 years old is one of the earliest memories I have of actually speaking life, or as you say, lighting the kind of the ignition switch to fire in me, was when I was 12 years old, because the school that I went to at 12 was right across the street from the projects. And where we lived, you could see my mom. If my mom was standing in the door, you could see her from the playground. And I remember, man, it was crazy because I can actually walk you to the spot where I was standing. And this was what, 40, almost 38 years ago. But I remember I saw these two girls. I'm just going to be real blunt on this. I don't know what kind of show it is, but I'm just going to be candid.
You good?
It was a couple white girls. My neighborhood's all black, of course, for the most part. And it was a couple white girls, and they were over there talking. I was close. I was in earshot. I could hear them. And they was talking about the people who live in those housing projects and how they're poor, and they badmouthed in my neighborhood. So in our neighborhood, you got to fight, right? But it's two girls. I'm not going to fight them. And I remember being so mad that they could just label me and put me down, or put us down as a whole because of where we lived, And bro, I just got so mad. I said, you know what? F that. And I probably said the words at 12 because I was a cusser at 12. I'm a professional cusser now. I'm good at it. But dude, I remember saying, you know what? F that. I'm going to buy my mom a house and I'm going to get rich. I remember saying I'm going to get rich. I had no idea what the hell rich meant, but I know it's better than what we had. So I was going with that. And I remember speaking that, bro. And literally, you don't realize when I started looking back, I'm like, that kind of trickled who I started running into in my life that I ended up keeping. And some people I actually had to get rid of.
Yeah. I remember one of the lessons that you taught us as a team within the network marketing group that we were in was, again, once you have your goals and you set your intentions, every decision that you make will be, you make those decisions based on, is this for the benefit of reaching my goal?
Yeah.
And that's just a whole different mentality I don't think a lot of people have.
You know what? One thing, and I'm studying like now. I'm in a bunch of different classes. I was in a class today. That's why I had to push it back a little bit, because I'm constantly learning from these guys who are doing 100 million.
Mm.
You know, I've made millions of dollars. I've helped people make millions of dollars. But in order for me to really step into my greatness, as you're saying, and keep igniting that fire and keep going, people say, well, you already got millions of dollars. Why do you keep chasing like you're chasing? I said, but what I'm chasing, you can't see.
Yeah.
Only person can see it is me. And so, it's a twofold deal, especially in today's world with, of course, setting attention at 12 when there was no internet. Now you got the internet. So the internet kind of labels you a certain way and it lets you feel inferior to what you see on the screen,
Yeah.
which, you know, a lot of people get that. And I was just like, is it helping me go this way? But most of us, when we set this, we have this goal. The first thing we try to do is figure out how we're going to get there. And that's the wrong approach. Don't worry about how you're going to get there. That's not your job. I used to tell people all the time, I say, you know what? Why you want to be there is your job. How is God's job? Let God do his job.
Yeah.
Let God do his job or her job, depending on what you believe in. But let your spiritual being do the how. It'll put you on the right path. But you got to have that reason of why. Why am I designed for greatness? Why do I need, you know? And I always say, you know what? The reason God gave me millions of dollars, he knew I was going to be a good steward with his money. That's what I used to always say. This is before I had the money, right?
Yeah.
I said, he's going to give it to me because he know I'm going to do right with the money. And I've taken care of so many people and things like this. And I said, this is why God gave me that money. So it wasn't for me. It was for his people. So quit worrying about how you're going to do it. Quit worrying about the how-to and the steps. Set your intentions. Know why you want it so bad. And man, you know what the crazy part is? You just start moving. And like you say, though, is this going to get me closer? And most people's problem is they think that that step got to be a giant step. And that's where you make mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so right on that. We actually had a conversation with me and Mr. Brown a couple of days ago where we were talking about just being consistent and making movement forward, but it doesn't have to be leaps and bounds. And at some point, all of a sudden, it becomes leaps and bounds because you master whatever it is that you're building, and it all of a sudden just becomes easy to you.
You know, the crazy part is what people don't realize. You need those steps.
Yeah. You
need those steps because here's the deal. If you just went from here to there, you're going to fail. And it's going to be epic. It's going to be, I remember I was watching TD Jakes one day. Everybody knows the great TD Jakes. And I remember watching some footage of him teaching his first Bible group. It's 7 people in there. Like 2 of them was family members. You know, he had no congregation. Now he got congregations all over the world, right? He got to stream it because he's so big. But I remember TD Jakes was telling, you know, he run across these young pastors and they wish he could just hand them the keys to his kingdom. He said, listen, if I gave you these keys to this what I built, it would destroy you. And I was sitting there watching it, and you know me, I'm taking notes. Yeah. It don't matter if it's church, it don't matter where it is. You can get these lessons. Like with Les Brown, I've jumped on some calls with Les Brown. He probably didn't know who I was, but I'm on there. You know why? I heard Les Brown was talking.
Yeah. And
when Les talk, it's some gold gonna drop out of his mouth. So I'm picking something up. But I remember him saying that he told this guy who got this small church, he said, dude, what's the biggest size church? Dude got a couple hundred people. TJ got 40,000 people. You got a couple hundred people. He said, dude, my budget just for water and things like this is bigger than your budget for your whole. And he wasn't putting the guy down. He was just explaining. You got to understand how I had to walk to get here. I had to take my time and learn how to handle 200 so I can learn how to handle 400. Then when I got to 500, then I got to 1,000. So everybody understand that your steps, man, are so important. And we're always in a hurry to get there, but trust me, the faster you get there, the faster you're going to come back. You're going to come back with a big lesson. So, you know, taking your time and just being consistent, as Les was saying, I just a big believer in that. We used to talk about that all the time, man. Are you showing the plan, as we used to say? Are you showing the plan? Yeah. And those who showed the plan had results. Those who didn't show the plan or were configuring their products and services about before they showed it, I said, dude, this doesn't make us money. These are not income-producing activities.
Yeah.
These are income-producing activities. Even though you don't make money off every one of them, they make you money. So, yeah man, that's such a great lesson.
Yeah, and actually your life is a part of that lesson as well, because again, once you made a decision, number one, it was about going to college and finance was something that was important to you.
Yep.
And football became a vehicle for that, which eventually led to an NFL career. But again, if you want to just kind of share the college years and really where where your focus was at there? I know there was some struggle that you had during the college years as well.
And still some struggle. I'm still feeling some struggle from the college years. But no, those are great points. So, all of us have our own journey. But remember, at 12 is when I said I was going to get rich. I didn't know how. See, that's one thing I wasn't trying to figure out was how. I just knew it had to be better than what I had. So as long as I knew that, I was making some moves, right? I was making some strides. But in college, man, it was, and I'll keep this rather short because, I went there with a football scholarship. That was the whole intention. But my thing is I'm going to go to get some grades. Matter of fact, me and my mom made a bet of me graduating from college. We made a $20 bet. I'll never forget it. We made a $20 bet on me graduating from college. Think about this now. $20, you're like, man, what? You're going to graduate from college, your mom going to owe you $20. Well, I got 3 degrees in business when I graduated from college. I asked my mom for my $60. I still ain't got my damn $60 to this day. My mom still, as many $1,000s I give her every month, she still ain't gave my $60. But the intention was to go there to get some skills that I could take to the marketplace. And remember, I played quarterback my whole life. Most people don't know that. I didn't play receiver. How you play 14 years, all pro at receiver, win Super Bowls at receiver when I played quarterback my whole life? Because life is going to give you some chances to pivot and adjust and adapt, whether you wanted to or not. Yeah. And so for me, I had an arch smashed in my foot my sophomore year, so I missed that whole season. I got speared in the knee in the game my first senior year that I had to get another senior year. I had to literally petition the NCAA, and there's a rule on the books. It really was started because of me to get an extra year of college because of what happened to me and my circumstances. And what I did is, while I had this extra year of college, I was hitting those books real hard. That's how I ended up with 3 degrees. I didn't take junk classes. I didn't take none of that because remember, in my mind, I'm thinking the more degrees that I have, the more money I can command in the marketplace. Yeah, that's what was my thinking. Because that's what everybody said. You go to school, you're going to get a good job. And I'm thinking, if I got 3 degrees, I'm going to get a great job, not a good one, right? Well, hell, that didn't work out the way out. Well, it didn't work out because I refused to get a job once I realized what that was that mentality of you going to be a slave to somebody else. And I'm like, nah. And football just happened to get in the way, to be honest about you. I was there for football scholarship. I'm working my tail off because I knew if I maximize now, please, the audience, please take this. I understand living in the future. I tell people all the time, I reside in the present, but I live in the future. But I'm working right now. What am I doing right now? And you got to work right now. So I took advantage of me going to this small school. And I used to have to tell this, that's another story with my son and his buddies who used to come over here. I want to go to this school. I want to go to that school. I said, dude, it don't matter where you go. If you do the same shit you doing right now, it don't matter where you go. Yeah. You're going to have to put some work in whether you like it or not. And so for me, I was like, I got 4 years of football. They gave me a scholarship, 20, 30,000 a year for me to play for school so I can get these degrees. That was my mentality. So I'm going to give them all I got on football field. And just so happened my junior and senior year, I got moved to receiver. And dude, I started crushing it. I led the NCAA in receiving. They didn't realize it. I wasn't even paying attention to that. I was just trying to go out there and maximize my talent. Yeah. And 1 year I was averaging 24 yards a catch. Think about that for a whole season. Wow. Yeah. Every time you touch the ball, you 4 foot away finish to the end zone, right? I averaged 24 yards a catch 1 year. I think that's still the NCAA record. But those are the things you do in those moments. You can't, I had an arch in my foot and this is that. And here's another thing that happened, a couple of things, and we won't dive deep into that. Found out I had a daughter. And my girlfriend was having a son. So I went from 0 kids to 2. And my girlfriend had a son. So I went from 0 kids to 3 in a year, like within a year's time. And I got no job. All I got is a scholarship. But I got to feed these kids. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was some real major hiccups. But you know what? I stayed on knees, man. I kept praying and kept working. I didn't slow down on the work. And that was the thing. I knew why. I didn't know how. I just knew why. And that was my focus.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the differences from a mindset standpoint with people, because you think about it, you go from in 1 year from 0 kids to 3 kids. Yeah. That can shake some folks. Yeah. And they can go off the deep end, or it can again light that fire within and say, man, I got these kids to take care of, and take you on a whole nother trajectory in your life. And that's when you look at the NFL and the average career for someone drafted or undrafted is 3.3 years. Yeah. And yet, and still here it is that you were undrafted, played 14 years, and you played with one team. I mean, it just doesn't happen. And I certainly don't think it happened during the time that you were playing as well. So number one, there had to be a mindset. There had to be this drive within that you had going.
Oh, yeah. You know what, man? And people, like, even to this day, I get that question about, what drives you now? I said the same thing that drove me then is lack. There's some areas in my life that are lacking.
Yeah.
Right. I remember when I had some spiritual lack. You know what I did? I started seeking spirituality. Remember, the things you lack, you seek. Like, trust me, don't get me wrong now. I like money and I like a lot of it because I can do more stuff. I can bless more people with it. But at the same time, I'm chasing impact now. It's different when you need money to survive. Like you said, all of a sudden you got 3 kids, you got a family, and it's like they didn't. And I say this all the time, still say this, they didn't ask me to be their dad. God chose me to be their dad.
Yeah.
So my job is to provide them with the things they need, want, desire. My job, and this is another phrase I use all the time, my job is to fund my kids' dreams. So they don't have to go through it as bad and go through as much trial and tribulation as I went through, because I'll fund their dreams. Like right now, I'm in the house by myself for the first time in 10 years, bro. I got the peace and quiet that I wanted. It's a little bit something. People, you get lonely. I said, well, I can call them, right? I'm still adjusting. But, my son's down in Atlanta. Devin's now over in Florida. Vanessa's in Missouri. They're doing good. I'm doing good. But this year, especially after this past year, I got a chance to really deep dive on me and figure, okay, how am I going to make a bigger impact? How am I going to be a spark plug? How am I going to light a fire for somebody else? They got a candle here and they got a wick, but they ain't got no fire. Let me go light that fire and show them that they can glow, man. They can win, because I literally get enthused watching people win. I see some of you, we don't talk as much as we used to talk all the time when we was in the same business, but I see you doing good things. And I'm like, man, I'm just so happy. I see you doing the closings. That means I say he's serving, because if you don't serve, you don't get the close.
Yeah.
So that's my thing, is doing that, man. I just want to see, like I said, and you see the quotes and stuff all the time on Facebook. Hey, if you don't come from a rich family, then a rich family should come from you. And most people take that financial. But I take that principle wise. I got 5 grandkids now. I don't know if you know, I got a granddaughter now. I got a granddaughter. She's 2 months old, man. And I'm like, ain't no way in the hell she's working for nobody. I want her to grow up with a standard that's completely different than even the other grandkids. I want her standard even bigger than theirs, because I laid the foundation. And so that's the thing I think about every day when I'm up here and I'm creating content and I'm doing Zooms. I got all kind of different people right now. I'm going to go on this little tour, like a Zoom tour of a lot of different podcasts and stuff like that, dropping knowledge, because what if I help somebody? That's all I care about.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of dropping knowledge, I'm going to touch on 2 areas that I think I walked away with that obviously still resonate with me to this day. One of them was, and you probably, like I said, you probably don't even remember this conversation, but this was when I came over, hadn't joined the business. We were launching the business.
Yep.
Had one of those meetings at the house, kind of doing the debrief over it. And then we started talking about branding and what I need, how I need to show up and how I need to represent myself and build a team that does the same thing. And one of the biggest points you made when you talked about branding, you talked about how you represented 3 brands. You represented, when you played in the NFL, you represented the NFL, you represented the Denver Broncos, but most importantly, you represented Rod Smith. And it was that 3rd one that no matter where you go, you always represent that 3rd one. So no matter what the industry is, and that stuck with me, because then I looked at it as, okay, I represent this industry of network marketing. I represent the company that we worked with. And then I represent Barry Overton, the brand. And then as I transitioned into real estate, it was the same thing. Number 3 was the same, but the other 2 changed.
Even as a police officer, same thing.
Yeah. Yep. And that was just a powerful piece for me that has always stuck in everything that I do from a social media standpoint. When I'm out, when I meet people, it's always about representing all 3 brands with class and dignity and professionalism. And again, because I was coming from a place of being a cop,
Yeah.
and I didn't have
They
business
weren't really
to
happy
do.
with you as a cop those days.
No.
It's worse now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No, but you know what it represented, because, and I just got to be real candid with you, man. As a black man in America, I was just having this conversation really right before I got back. I had to run some errands, and I came back, and I was having this conversation with somebody I'm coaching right now, and I was telling her, I said, listen, you represent you 24/7. And I said, there's a certain standard that's got to come with you, that when you walk in the room, they know that, oh, you showed up. See, your energy store, you walk in, they already know this person here is about that business. They're going to make sure, and see, because for us as black men, we got these labels based off something we can't even control, which is the color of our skin. You automatically label me a thug. You automatically label me a gangbanger. You automatically label me this person, because of my skin color, without even having a conversation with me. So you don't know if I'm Republican, Democrat, liberal. You don't know if I'm gay or straight. You don't know if I'm a Buddhist or Baptist. You have no idea what those other labels you can give me, but you label me a certain way in America because of my skin color, and they start treating you as such. And I was like, you know what? I'll be damned if I'm gonna let them label me that way, because I'm gonna define my own label, and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna represent myself, the people I work with, no matter which industry it is, no matter who it is, whether it's business, whether it's me hanging out with some kids at the Boys and Girls Club, no matter what it is, they gonna know that Rod Smith was there, because I represent that Smith brand no matter what. Yeah. Without you, so now when I walk in certain rooms, the demeanor changes. But that's been intentional for a long time, and it's a constant battle that we're having in this country, but at the same time, I tell people all the time, with all the social justice stuff going on, I said, listen, man, as a black man in America, let me tell you what I got. This is the worst of times for me as a black man in America. They look at me like, what, dude, you got millions of dollars. I said, and it's also the best time at the same time. I said, until we keep making strides, I said, I got to keep making strides, because I got two sons, I got 4 grandsons and a granddaughter, and plus my other friends and other people that I represent every time I step out this house. And I want to make sure that they look at me with their head held high, to like, he doing the damn thing for us, because they need to see that example. You can't keep seeing an example of us going to jail and getting shot and doing some of the crazy stuff how we get portrayed, because that's not who we are.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and that's again one of those things where, from a social media standpoint, because I've been out with you at different events, and how you represent yourself, represent your family, represent the industry that you're involved with is, at a high level. And again, it raises the bar of the people around you also. Yep. And, it kind of takes me into my next area that really, this quote, man, for me, I heard it from you. I know you give Holton credit for it, but it's, successful people can create the conditions in their mind in order to succeed.
Yep.
And when you tell that story about, and I'll let you tell it here, about the helicopter.
I told that story the other day.
The where are they now?
Yeah, man. No, because and I'll repeat it for some of you guys, because we always had this saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. And it said successful people create the conditions in their mind in order for them to succeed. So it's not about your physical body, it's about your mind. And we have so much control mentally. I don't have my, you know what? Actually, I do. Let me, because you've seen this before. Hopefully, I didn't drop the thing. I have a picture of the house that I built from my mind. The house I live in now looks like this house. This was the house I took a picture of almost 20 years ago on the golf course in Texas. With the old click camera. Remember the box camera?
Yeah.
I took this picture. Remember, this is when I was broke. Like, I was broke as a joke. But if you pull my house up next to this house, them suckers look identical.
Yeah.
And I remember one day I was driving up to the house and I said, man, this house looked familiar. And I happened to get the picture back. That's another long story. But guys, it's all about the mind. I remember running outside after I got this picture back from my ex at the time. She brought me this picture because it used to hang up in my office and I used to stare at it. I ran up I got these rocks in front of my house. I jumped up on top of the rocks and I took a picture of my house, and I was looking at the picture, and I was looking at my house, and I was looking at the picture, and I'm jumping up and down to I did it. I'm out there by myself. It was the craziest damn thing in the world. But it was all about what I had put in my head 17 years earlier.
Yeah.
This is how I want to live. I didn't know how. I just knew that's what I wanted. And so people, you have it in you. And sometimes podcasts, sometimes it's a YouTube search, sometimes it's a book, sometimes it's a tape, sometimes it's a TV program that'll just spark you to realize how much greatness you got that you need to unleash.
Yeah.
Because we start getting embarrassed because of these labels everybody gave us, and we think we're less than, or what do I have to say that people really want to hear? Everything, because there's somebody going through what you went through. See, you already been through that.
Yeah.
And so when I heard that quote, like I said, I give it credit to Mr. Bugs, and but just because I had never really heard somebody speaking life into me like that. You know, as a professional athlete, usually people are looking up to me, but I got to go find people to look up to. So that's why I seek and buy the programs and videos of the Les Browns of the world and Kiyosaki and Anthony Robbins, and now I got between Holtz and Bugs and Russell Brunson, all these guys some of these tech guys. I interviewed Grant Cardone. He was a billionaire. I interviewed him last week. But you know what? I took that shot. I said, well, hell, he talking about just call him up. You can interview him and email his people. Dude, I was emailing his people. I had no idea what I was going to talk about, but I didn't care. Because the new me say, go out there and get told no again. Make them tell you no. Go put that work back in like you was broke.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm doing it. I'm putting it. See, I'm conditioning myself mentally to go back to when I didn't have 12,000 square feet.
Yeah.
When I had about 1,200 square feet. And there's 4 or 5 of us up in there, and get off me. You know what I'm saying? Hey, give me some space. Y'all go over there. Let me go over here for a minute, right? Yeah. So, but when you put those conditions in your head, guys, and I taught my son this, and he's getting it, man. He's doing good. He's over in Atlanta. He's booking some gigs now. He ain't just doing auditions no more. He's booking some gigs. I said, bro, listen. I said, what did you change? Oh, Dad, I ain't changed nothing. I said, dude, you changed everything. Let me tell you what you changed. He didn't realize I've been documenting him this whole time. I started telling him about I said, remember this class you took? Remember you did the voiceover class from the guy you never met, but he had, and you had 3 teachers for acting and modeling at the same time. I said, you paid for that. I didn't pay for that. I said, don't tell me you didn't change nothing. Dude, you changed everything. He said, damn, I ain't look at it like that. He moved from Colorado to Atlanta. You know, and I said, dude, you changed your environment. You changed your conditions up here, and then you physically changed the conditions with the second part. And now I said, how many auditions you been on now? He said, I've been on about 50 auditions. I said, think about it. When you was in Colorado, you went on 3. Yeah. I said, so you mentally changed first. Then you put yourself in the environment. I said, go get told no. You ain't getting enough no's. Go get told no. He done booked 3, 4, 5 solid jobs. He did a movie. He got a short film that he done. He's editing now. He was in a film with freaking he's in a commercial. He got 2 commercials from Colorado. One he shot with IBM. He said, Dad, the cameras was $50,000. I said, exactly. It's a different level of production than the iPhone. So, you know, so he's seeing how to step into his greatness. He lit the fire a while back, but I told him, I said, dude, you got to go chase it. Ain't nobody gonna give it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, and that creating the conditions in your mind, it takes me back to, I'm sure you probably saw Last Dance with the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan. And it was that episode with LeBradford Smith. And I don't know if you remember, LeBradford had that amazing game against Jordan.
He ain't had one like this.
Yeah, 37 points. And after the game, he walks off the field or off the court and says, Michael said, he says, good game, Mike. And as luck would have it, they got the very next game. They're playing them again. It's a back-to-back. And Jordan, told his teammates the day of the game, said, he got 37 in the game. I'm getting 37 in the half, and got 36 in the half. And the crazy part about it is, he just shamed the man, And again, it was because he felt like this guy shamed him, and he said, nice game, Mike. But years later, we found out that LeBradford never said that. It was once again Michael Jordan.
Mike made it up.
He was a master of creating the conditions in his mind in order to succeed.
Dude, I tell people, even like now when you're coaching people and stuff like that, because that's some of the stuff I'm going into more, the real legitimate coaching. I got courses and stuff that I built out. I got courses up on mastermind.com right now. I got one of my courses up. And this is the part that most people don't get. The when you're being coached, you're looking for your coach to tell you how to break through when you only can tell you how to break through.
Yeah.
Because you know what motivates you. You know what I'm saying? You know the words and the triggers and things like this. See, Kobe Bryant, I heard, was very good at that. Now you're getting all the stories from Kobe, God rest his soul. You're getting all these stories from Kobe that Kobe was going to the gym 2 hours before the game. He dripping with sweat, and he wouldn't lead to everybody else that already went back in. Like, he already been there 2 hours. Dude's like, man, he just showing off. And dude said, man, he dead tired. He done went back in to get ready for the game. Kobe's still out there. He still hear the ball bouncing. But see, here's the thing. It don't just work in sports. Most people think because sports, because it broadcasts in sports, you don't get as broad. Well, it's now with the internet, people can broadcast, but literally I put myself in lack positions because I know it moves me. We always say emotion creates motion. Yeah. You asked me about this, and I got to share it because and when I got in the NFL, I remember when I was 12, like I said, we used to play football outside. We used to watch Monday Night Football. Halftime, we go outside and play football. And I remember they had a special on Where Are They Now on HBO one time. And there's a guy, he had lost all his money. He was broke. He sold his Super Bowl rings. Now, I remember one day we was out there playing. I said, guys, listen, I'm going to the NFL, man. I'm winning Super Bowl, and I ain't never going broke. I ain't never selling my ring, none of that, right? I'm speaking this at 13 years old.
Yeah.
And when I got in the NFL and I got this house and, got my kids' space, and these are the conditions I was putting in my head. So when I retired, why did I go into network marketing as soon as I retired and went and made $3 million in network marketing? Because I had created conditions in my mind. Remember, I used to tell you this story. I said, man, listen, all I see is there's a helicopter. ESPN is flying over my house. The sheriff is here. My kids are sitting on the curb crying. They taking all of our stuff because Dad screwed it up. And I just get emotional about that. And I'm like, dude, I just go right back to work. I just go, because remember, I know the conditions that I need. See, every person that's watching this and that will watch this and for on and on, you know the conditions. You just got to make them vivid. Yeah. You gotta make them 4K. It can't be 1080p. Yeah. You got to make them suckers so crystal clear that it bothers you. It disturbs you. Like people would see me and you did it, dude. I watched me and you would stay up to 2, 3, 4 in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, the emails going out, and people like, dude, do y'all sleep? We like, for what? Because in our head, we had these parameters. Yeah. I was around your family. I was around your son. I had to be an example to your son. Yeah. See, you know what I'm saying? Because he saw, the football stuff and this and that, but I wanted him to see Rod Smith, the worker. Yeah. And I used to pull him to the side and have a little side conversation with him behind your back, in your face. I didn't care because I wanted him to understand what Dad was doing. I remember when we dropped the bins off, when the bins got dropped off at the spot that we did the meeting and he was there. I said, this is why those nights when your dad came home late. Yeah. And he was his face, to me, do I still have Jackson's face, that picture in my head because it meant something to me. Yeah. You didn't probably see me cry, but I cried a little bit. I got to man up because I'm sitting there like, here's a guy that trusted me enough to follow my crazy ideas that he can be successful and he can get that Benz and he can get these things. And then when it happened and it came, dude, I was just so overwhelmed that I said, you know what? It works. It's principle-based. It's not personal. It's principle-based. Yeah.
Yeah. And since you bring him up, you'd be happy to know, I mean, the thing, like right now, he's still trying to figure out what he's going to do, but he's got examples in our family now of software engineers, and he's an amazing writer. So he's thinking about screenplay writing. I'm actually I got that masterclass program, and I'm getting him into Issa Rae has a masterclass on there on writing screenplays. So I'm gonna get him into that. But I mean, he's already thinking about, we have a little small condo out in San Diego. He said, hey, don't sell it. I want to buy it. And
exactly.
Yeah, he was thinking that way at 16, know. So it's it's really just great to be able to see. And I know that was number one, what he's getting from me, but also the people that I was able to put him around,
Yeah.
like yourself, and he's just seeing the world from a different perspective now.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, remember, we get to fund their dreams, dude.
Yeah.
And my thing is, you give them so many examples that it's like a smorgasbord for them to choose from.
Yeah.
You know, they can't just see one side.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I've always tried to help with boys and girls clubs and stuff like that. And I would go over there and do things, and you can give all the money you want. You know what I'm saying? And I had one of those kids from the Boys and Girls Club live with me.
Mm.
Got him here, got him through high school, showed him a different way of living. Think about it. You go from living, you know, way he was living with his parents, nothing against his dad and nothing like that. But then you living in 12,000 square feet.
Mhm.
It's a completely different mindset over here.
Oh yeah.
Because I had to get a different mindset.
Yeah.
I had to get a different mindset when I rented my first house. Because I was scared to buy one because I ain't never had nobody around me who bought a house. You see what I'm saying? There was nobody around me who bought a house. How are you gonna know how to do it?
Yeah.
But then when I bought a house, I realized that, oh, okay. And then next thing you know, I built a house. I was literally the contractor who built the house. And so when I'm around people, I said, listen, you got these. I said, these are examples that you can actually choose from that are yours. You get to keep them. And see, I already knew back in the day, Jackson he gonna get the pick of the litter. He get to pick what he want to do. He gonna get to pick where he want to go to school. He gonna get to pick what company he want to work for. Because here's the thing. He sat there and watched you do it. He was indirectly watching me and other people, like you said, a family, a group of people. You putting them around. You put them around good people. You know, some hard workers. Some of them are cops. Some of them are realtors. Some of them are in just traditional businesses. And he get to witness that stuff. And so my thing is us giving our circle, you know, making our circle bigger by bringing in good people to kind of like raise them as a village. And so they start seeing success come from us, you know, not just from us individually.
Yeah. And that good transition into the kind of the final part, because again, I want to definitely talk about what it is you're currently doing, but I already know that just based off of you, it's part of that raising the village. Because one thing I realized with you with football is you did that all your life through, you know, flag football in middle school and elementary, high school, college, at a pro level. So team is something that's very important to you. And you realize that in team, it's not I won, it's we won. And I've always admired that about you, is it's about the we winning. And so I know that, you know, you got some endeavors in the direct sales market still, but I know you have some other endeavors. Can you just share with us what you got going now?
Yeah, man. You know what? I realized a long time ago I want to be a teacher, but teachers don't make that much money. So, and it's not necessarily about money, but if you want to make impact, you got to be able to have some income to make some impact. So, you know, coaching. I'm in different coaching programs that I'm taking, but I'm also building my own coaching programs. You'll see me talk about hustling secrets. I'm wearing my green today because my hustling secrets colors is green and black. You know, of course, my Bronco colors, but hustling secrets is something. To me, it's all about, you know, we always hustling, no matter who it is. It doesn't have such a bad term like it is now. Now it's about entrepreneurs going out there, getting what you need to get and doing it legally and ethically. You know, I get tired of us having a bad rap. It goes back to the social stereotypes that, if I'm a black guy with a lot of money, I got to play sports. I can't be a software engineer. I can't own the company. You see what I'm saying? I love LeBron James because LeBron James put his people on. You notice all his guys are the tops in their profession, but it stemmed from him going to get what he was getting. And that don't mean people going to stay with you. Like, man, you still communicate. We don't work directly together as much anymore, but I see some remnants of the stuff that I was taught in you, and I like it because I know you're teaching some other folks and you building that team. And so for me, is, you know, I got like literally got 4 different programs coming out, not just my book. I got a coaching program going through my book, you know, with the Rod Effect, book.com. You can get the download ebook for free. You know, that's my world right now is crafting them all up, laying them out. And but the next one coming out is going to be my Hustling Secrets book. And it's these things that, how do you overcome certain obstacles? Some of the same stuff we talked about today, but I got it now in book form because sometimes you can reach a person easier with a book because they're a little bit distant. And then eventually what we'll do is we'll hopefully be able to get in a room or get on a Zoom, and I can literally deep dive into the areas that are hurting them and show them how to remove those barriers so they can go be great, man. I woke up last year. I had a tough year last year, with the kids moving out. You don't think it's going to affect you, but it does. You know what I'm saying? When I had 6 to 8 people in my house for the last 12 years. I didn't want them there, but now that they're gone, I'm like, it's not that bad, right? But you still miss them.
Yeah.
And but with COVID happening, I got a chance to reflect on how do I want to be remembered, so to speak. And I said, the football stuff is always going to be there. I don't never like open doors because of football, but I know to open doors. I want to open doors because of the substance of who I am as a man. Like, hey, that dude's involved. Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now what he finna bring to the table. That's the way I want people to see me. They don't see my color. They don't see he's a black businessman. They just see a businessman. He just so happens to be black. And being an example for, the kids around me, white or black, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to see people doing good and loving on each other and actually getting, where we can try to make this thing called life, because it's short, no matter how long it is, make it better. You know what I'm saying? And leaving that impact. So my grandsons, my granddaughter, my kids, they're still in that chase mode. I tell them, hey man, you ain't making enough mistakes. Go make some mistakes. I got you. Go make some mistakes. I got you. So, but I want to do that for my friends as well. I don't want my friends around me worshiping me. I want you around me getting some of these nuggets I got. Be some of these private rooms I got to go in because I had a certain status and income and celebrity. I took notes out of there. Get these notes. Go use them. Right.
Yeah.
And when you find somebody that does that, you just want to keep pouring into them. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people I can pour into that are going to take what I'm pouring and use it so they can go pour it into somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's that point that you made in regards to the information and being able to pass it on. That's, again, one of those valuable lessons that I learned from you. I remember you got into a room with Jake Jabs, and I think he had like 100 different like pro tips, basically, in regards to success. And I think that may have been a Thursday or a Friday. And on Saturday in Organo, we getting those 100 pro tips.
Yeah.
So
this dude worth $100 million. He started selling TVs back when there was no cable. See, most people don't know that. But I sat in that room, man. I went to this event with Pastor Tate, and Jake Jabs was the keynote speaker. And people were watching him and listening to him, but not one person was taking notes.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is wrong with these people? Dude, man, me. Hey, man, listen. Hey, come here.
Yeah.
What do you need? I need a pen and some napkins. Me, I love them napkins, right?
Yeah.
Give me some napkins. Give me anything. But ain't no way he finna drop these gems of how he worth $100-some million. At the time, this was probably 7 years ago, man. He was 83. He went to work every day. He still ran his company. He talked about how people said he couldn't do it in other places because he's in Colorado. He ain't even from Colorado. He lived up in like Wyoming. He opened up a store. He told me how he opened up a store in Arizona, all through the internet, no ads.
Yeah.
Only through social media. His store grossed. He grossed $7 million in one day. And he did it non-traditional. Everybody tell him what he need to do. He said, no, this is how I'm gonna do it. And for a guy at 83 years old who got up and went to work every day, and you work for 100, you went from he was a farmer. He had trailers. Him and his brother had trailers, like for cattle. And he was the first person selling TVs, big TVs, the old floor models with cable attached. Like, he was the first person marketing cable up in Wyoming. And I heard that story. And I'm like, man, this dude is freaking brilliant. And he just adapted. He had a music store. And see, some people get in these rooms and they'll get caught up with the story. I said, all he's doing is unlocking those keys to your success.
Yeah.
That was one of the, matter of fact, that's actually, I got a book called Unlocking Your Purpose. It's coming out too. So, but yeah, it's a lot of gems I got from other people. I didn't make this stuff up, man. I just take it and I form it in my world, and I'm gonna pass it on. Hopefully you take it and put it in your world.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you find so many people that have created success for themselves that done the exact same thing. Warren Buffett, I don't know where he's at now, but I know at one point he was the 4th richest man in the world. And they asked him, what did he spend his day doing? He said, I spent 6 hours reading.
Yeah.
And somebody asked him, what are you reading? He was talking about Henry Ford and how he ran his business, 50, 70 years prior, but he was applying some of those same principles, because it wasn't about the business and the certain techniques. It was the principles in itself that he was following.
Yeah, I mean, and here's one thing I tell people a lot. I said, one thing about if you operate your life and your business based off principles, they transcend time and space. Principles don't go away. Here's the deal: they always work 100% of the time.
Yeah.
No one can dispute the true biblical principles, because they're biblical principles. If you follow those things to a T in all aspects of your life, watch how much impact you have on your life. I think you said it earlier. When you're making it, and Les told you this, it's about consistency and making the small steps, taking those small steps over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And then what'll happen is you'll turn around and look back and you'll realize how far you gained. Yeah. You realize how far away from that pain that you was in before. Mm-hmm. And now you got a different hill to climb. Yeah. We call it the peak-to-peak principle. You get to one peak and you start celebrating at that peak, and you look in front of you like, damn, there's another one like right there. It's bigger than this one I'm on. And then you go back down, and then you go climb that mountain. Yeah. And once you get up there, you celebrate, and you look again, there's another one. And that's the way life is. There's a human need for growth, and we always have to have something to chase. Whether it's significance, it could be money. It's okay if you're chasing money, but here's the thing: you're gonna have to become somebody in order to get it. Yeah. So don't let somebody make you feel bad because you want to be a millionaire. Because I have people who want to be a hundredaire and scrapping and scraping for to pay their bills every month, questioning people who are trying to be millionaires. Yeah. Don't take advice. Here's one of my tips from my book. Don't take advice from people you wouldn't trade places with. Yeah. If I ain't trading places with you, I ain't taking your advice. Right. Yeah. I mean, that don't mean I can't be friends with you. That don't mean we can't go get something to eat. But as far as my business advice, or for that purpose or that thing, remember that thing, we lit the flame, right? You got it about igniting great. We got the flame lit, but I got to go put some gas on that thing to make it get bigger, right? I got to put some wood kindling on that thing and until it turn into a fire. And it's going to take some work. It's going to take time, and it's just the way it is. My thing is, I'll say this to kind of end it out. I think you said we're ending it out is I have a word every year. I have a word or a phrase for the year. And my word for this year is empathy. And not sympathy, it's empathy. Learn to empathize with other people. Last year was it was a hell of a year last year. Yeah. It was a hell of a year in a good way for a lot of people, and it was a hell of a year in a terrible way for a lot of people. And the thing was, it's hard to stay in the middle. And so my thing with having empathy is understand that everybody's got their thing that they're going through and they don't announce. Just have some empathy for them. Not sympathy. Empathy means I can see your point. And then you can move on. Don't beat people up for how they're approaching certain things right now. Last year was the first time it ever happened in U.S. history, what we all experienced and went through. Mm-hmm. And you have to be empathetic to other people's position. Some people, if they're celebrating, they had a great year. I think you had a pretty good year business-wise. Yeah. For me, business-wise, personally, I had a better year than I had business-wise, but I'm not going to discount it because I needed that year. It was a year for me to not take a year off, but it was for me to soul search. Mm-hmm. But it was the best year of my life when you asked me on an internal basis. Yeah. Externally, I made tons of money. But my goal for last year wasn't money. Mm-hmm. My goal was internal. Yeah. But I can empathize with those who made money and they're celebrating their money. I can, I'm with you. But those who lost somebody last year and who was sick last year, I can empathize with them too. Yeah. So that's why my word is empathy, and I'm going to keep working, man, and keep trying to make that impact.
Yeah, and I know that you will, man. And I got to say, I appreciate your time. And again, so many gems that were dropped in this thing. So if you're on here as a listener, definitely hit the rewind on this one, because this is one that should be on heavy. I promise. Yeah, this one should be on heavy rotation for you, man, because I'm telling you, I speak from experience of being able to take the information that we received from this gentleman and turning it into success. And I know so many other people that have, created 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures just by following his lead. So again, I appreciate your time, brother, and thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely, man. I want a copy of it too, because I'm gonna have it as a repost on my podcast as well. Hustle and Secrets podcast is coming out. I got a few episodes up right now. I've been kind of started putting them in the can. I got to get more consistent, but I definitely want, because you're sharing some stuff that honestly I want the audience that I have to hear.
Yeah.
It's not about me. It's about, here's a guy who went from here to there, and the way you're handling and dealing with your son. See, they can't get that from me. They need to hear that from you. So if it's up to you, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, definitely want to be able. I got a few guys I'm about to do this with, a bunch of, you know, real estate and business people, but I got some athletes because remember, everybody's got these obstacles.
Yeah.
And most people don't know what our obstacles are. And so there's some hustling. I'm gonna interview you on a personal level for my stuff too, but this one may be just like, hey, let me take this and just put it on. Thank you, man. I definitely appreciate it. I apologize for the early stuff that was going on, but I'm gonna get this thing right.
No, man, it all worked out perfect. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for joining us. Go back, take a look at this one. This one is one that you want to look at over and over. It will set you up for success. And remember, the struggle is real, but so is your greatness.
Ignite your greatness, take a leap of faith and you'll make it. Wanna live life to the fullest, you gotta be hardworking and patient. You got the fire within you, you got a dream that you should be chasing. Pushing through to the finish line and you got no time to be wasting, yeah. Ignite your greatness, take a leap of faith and you'll make it.